Eagle, would you please rise to salute the flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening. We will call this to order. We have all five councilors present. We have the assistant town manager and the town clerk. We have three public hearings scheduled back tonight. Just a reminder to those in attendance, there'll be a 3-minute time limit when you come up. Please state your address and your name and keep the comments to what we're discussing. So parking regulations is the first one, 2668. I'll make a motion to go into public hearing for parking regulations, section 130-50.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Do we have anybody that would like to speak on the parking regulations for this public hearing? This is basically on-street parking. Paul Street, we added some verbiage in there so the police can actually have some teeth and ticket if people are parked out of the way. Some of the wordings were as necessary. So it's kind of who determines what's necessary. So that was changed to leave it up to the police. It's just language change in that ordinance. Councilors, anybody?
I had one comment. I noticed it sounds like the propulsion of this, or the start of this came from that Paul Street.
Correct.
And I noted that the table lists one side of Paul Street as being not allowing parking. Is that known, or should there have been further review of this ordinance to ensure, like, was the intent to ban parking on both sides? Because as it stands now, that wouldn't be the case, and
So I think at the time that was done, I don't think Paul Street had the sidewalk it has now. So with that added, if you've been down Paul Street, it's hard enough to get one vehicle down Paul Street. So I do believe they're gonna pretty much make it no parking on either side of the street with the signs.
So this amendment wouldn't, as it's written, wouldn't make that the case.
So it is still.
So it says Paul Street. So name of street, Paul Street, side, south, location from a point 150 feet east of Main Street to Highland Ave. So the parking would still be allowed on one side of the street. So I guess my question is, was part of the intention here to make it enforceable to prohibit parking on both sides? And if it was, I'm just advising that it's not the case. I don't know if that was the intent or not, but.
I understood it as just being language to help make it more, what is currently laid out more enforceable, like not to not change the parameters of it, but I could be misremembering.
That was my understanding.
That it's just language to make it crystal clear.
So when we get to it, down in unfinished business, we can move to the next meeting, request Chief Ruger to come in and give us an update to it prior to us enacting it.
Just to make, I mean,
If
what Mallory's saying is the case, obviously it's not an issue, but if it wasn't, I would want to go through this.
right, yeah, no, so when we get down to unfinished business 2668, we will move that along until the next meeting, and we'll request Chief Ruger to come in and brief us what he was actually looking for. Anybody else?
Yes,
Yeah, please approach the podium.
sure.
Name and address, ma'am, even though I know.
On Buttonwood Road. I just wanted to ask, is the parking regulation specific to Paul Street, or is that an open item for any parking regulations?
So this is part of the actual ordinance for all parking.
Okay.
now.
So can I ask you then, John?
Yeah,
And all of you council people, so if there are signs that say no parking, why do we allow it? Because it's very much ignored, especially, and we all know around the ball field, all that lovely grass that we pay for. It's
So
kind of
We have a very small police force that is taxed doing a lot of other things and they do the best they can. I guess that's gonna be the best answer I give you right now.
Okay, but I didn't know if that was part of that.
It is, they have increased traffic stops, speeding, we're well over, I think, 200 stops every 2 week period now. They are starting to enforce a lot more.
Right, I wonder,
And they picked up 2 more part-time, so hopefully, again, around the ball fields, it's very dangerous. It has
and
been.
across from Maggie's,
Yeah.
ice cream, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
John, can I just, just for the clarity of folks out there, and actually for myself, did these changes come from the police department, the chief, or?
These came as a request from a resident on Paul Street.
Right.
Because most of the time during the late afternoon, early evening, you can't get down Paul Street because people are using their driveways and then parking 3 cars on the side of the street. So it's very dangerous. You're not gonna get an emergency vehicle up there. The chief and Tim looked into it, and that's where this language change came from. That's what started the ball rolling with Paul Street.
So is there, procedurally, I know what residents are allowed to petition for the enactment of an ordinance. But it sounds like in this case, that resident. There wasn't necessarily a petition, but then they talked to the town staff. What is the process? For the town, like, is the town manager allowed to propose an ordinance change to the council and,
Yes.
yeah?
Yes, sir. Yep, town manager can, the police chief can. Again, we had this for overnight parking, I do believe, not too long ago, and we had another where there was nothing. The police chief could not enact fines, and if he did, he had no mechanism to collect them. So we had to change the wording in the ordinance, so yeah, town manager or police chief, fire chief can propose. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing for parking regulations. We'll move on to the next public hearing, which is adding 2 stop signs and a speed table on Buttonwood Road and Willow Drive. Do we have anybody, or excuse me, I'll make the motion to go into that public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
I,
Motion passes 5-0. Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak to Buttonwood Road and Willow Drive?
I don't know about the stop signs, but I do have an idea
Could you
with,
say your-
oh, I'm sorry, I'm Donna Kilgar, I live on Hickory Lane, and I drive through Willow and all the time to get through town, to get through anywhere. I have a problem about the table, because I'm noticing that I had a car in one of the other tables and it bent my frame on my car, so I had to get a new car. I found some ideas with that, with any type of speed bump or table, it can only be 2 inches high for my cars. I have quite a few cars. I have a Camry, Toyota, I have a Mustang, I have an Audi, and I have a Lincoln, and all of them are under 5 inches clearance, which means it can only have a 2 to a 3 inch clearance, no more than a 2 inch clearance, which is not good for an SUV, and all of these tables are for SUVs and trucks. So I have a problem about going through my neighborhood with a clearance of more than 2 inches, which is not gonna solve the problem. So, the table, I don't know where it is, if you're gonna do it over by Willow and Buttonwood, or if you're gonna do it by Ball Field to slow people down. I have some other solutions, if that's okay. Maine offers grant programs, and they have to be in by June 4th, which is only a few days, but they have some money that they will offer for NA transportation and crosswalks. So, a solar crosswalk for down by the ball field, or even someplace else to slow cars down, could be a solution. It's less than $10,000 for a solar crosswalk, which might be a solution. And then I also recommend that taking the crosswalk by Agamenicus and Willow, which is very dangerous if you're stopping in front of somebody to let somebody go, that people behind you in Agamenicus doesn't know why you stopped. So to move that crosswalk 2 or 3 cars down and putting a light there so that people can go, might be a solution instead of having speed bumps, which is not good for cars, because they were saying that there's 22% of accidents or from claims for cars is from speed speed bumps and tables, so please keep that in mind, that you have cars that do not go over these tables very well, or speed bumps very well, and I've already gone to 2 roads I'm not allowed to go through town because of them. So if you can think of that through towns and through future, please keep that cars in mind that they don't have a lot of clearance. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Anybody else? Please come forward
Okay, Elsie, I'm speaking from the heart.
now. All good.
Terry Riendo, 48 Buttonwood Road. I've been appreciating the police presence at the end of the road. I thought that their presence, just parking there, and I wave every time I go by, and appreciation thumbs up, because I feel as though they're there. As long as someone sees them, they're going to slow down. Same thing at the field. You know, if I see them at the field, I appreciate coming around the corner. First of all, I never drive over 25. I get really annoyed if anybody pushes me. I mean, really annoyed. But anyways, and 40 years. And it makes me almost nervous to put a stop sign at the end to make a third, you know, to make it a 3-way stop. It's not that far from Agamenticus Road to there. And I think a lot of people cut through that don't live there, and they do that. And there's a lot of children, a lot of dogs, a lot of bikes, you know, and it makes me a little nervous that people are gonna run through. And I can speak to this personally in Old Mill, because I take my dog for a ride, you know, after, and I'm just going. And I went to Old Mill and I wanted to take a turn onto Millstream Lane, and I kind of coasted through the stop sign, because I, you know, do it all the time. Lights were there, I stopped, and I said, I think it's in my registration, what is it, what did I do? And he said, you did a rolling stop. And I said, yes, I did. Didn't have my license with me because I was just taking the dog for a walk. So, ride, sorry. And then I thought, but I will never do that again. And I know and I appreciate our police department, I do, and I'm not trying to put more on them. I'm really not. But if, I wish I could write tickets, I wish I could stand there with a radar gun and, you know, scare people. But, you know, I wish that we could just write out more tickets and word would spread, and people would say, you know, you go through, you cut through there, you're gonna get a ticket, it's serious. But, I mean, you guys have obviously studied it, and it just, I mean, I have a 5-year-old granddaughter and I have a ginormous golden retriever, and I know that people take that corner too fast. You know, they go off, you know, and that scares me when I walk on Willow, you know, but you're talking about after that, so. But again, it was from the heart. The idea that it would be a 3-way stop down there, and I know there's been accidents. But that's all, I mean, really, and I do know that if I get stopped once by a policeman for doing something, I won't ever do it again. But you know, I'm old school, so, but that's all I have to say, guys. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And they are, again, we'll have the numbers tonight in the town manager's report, but we've been leading York County and pretty much the state of Maine for the last 8 months, 9 months.
Yeah.
In traffic stops in the town of Southborough. We said we're well over 200 every 2-week period. And we have in excess now, surprises me to say this, but in excess of 70 miles of roads that we have in Southborough that tow patrolmen have to patrol every day. So we have a lot of roads out there that we have to be on. They seem to be on the high speed ones. And they're out very early in the morning. I usually pass them at 4 o'clock on my way to work in the morning, going the speed limit, because I always go the speed limit. Always. But they are out. They do appreciate it when you wave to them. So we will let them know that. Anybody else?
I'm David Foote, 39 Dogwood Drive, and I'm a big fan of anything you can,
It's on wheels.
anything you can do to calm the traffic. I don't care if it's speed bumps or a stop sign at every street. We had some kid do a donut there at whatever that street was. And Willow Drive has become a racetrack, and a lot of people coming north on 236 go in through Old Mill and then curve around and go on Willow to beat the traffic turning right downtown. And we walk our dog and we see the deers and the beavers and whatever, and it's just like any traffic calming. However you want to position that, I think is a great idea.
Excellent, thank you.
Evening, my name's Steve, I live in 46 Buttonwood. Thank you all, I just have something written if that's all right. I appreciate all your work and what you guys are doing. As a funny quip, honestly, I think the biggest traffic calming feature on Buttonwood right now is the sinkhole by the already existing stop sign at the end of 46, which may in time be enough of a deterrent for those that speed. But truthfully, I do support the town's ongoing improvement safety concern, especially with Willow and the speeding that does exist. My concern, though, is specifically with the use of additional stop signs as a primary speed control measure. Both according to the Federal Highway Administration, the FHWA, or the MUTCD, the National Manual on Uniform Traffic Council Devices Standards, which Maine follows for traffic control guidance. Stop signs are not recommended primarily as speed control devices. Their intended purposes are to assign right-of-way intersections, whereas they are to demonstrate a safety need. The Maine Department of Transportation guidance and the safety system team approach also emphasize designing roads to naturally encourage safer speeds through roadway designs to calm traffic needs. The research also kind of holds that stop signs create unintended issues such as rolling stops, abrupt braking, acceleration, rear end collisions, and inconsistent driving compliance. The proposal already does include a speed table, which is actually more consistent with Maine DOT and the FHWA traffic calming guidance by adding unnecessary stop signs. I would just respectfully ask that the council to ensure any final decision is supported by engineering studies, crash data, and guidance consistent with Maine DOT, FHWA, and MUTCD standards that we hold in the state. So, thank you.
Anybody else?
Brian Stankovich, Buttonwood. I just had a question. We had a speed table in Old Mill, did we not?
I do believe we had portable ones in Old Mill for a while. Yeah, I mean, I'm going back.
Yeah,
But
it wasn't portable.
Was it?
It was fixed.
Yeah.
And then, right, so I'm just wondering, here we are talking about a speed table again. We already went and did that, the town spent the money to put it in. Only to take it out because the snow plow drivers had problems with it and stuff like that, so just
And
make you
the kids
aware
like
of
to
that.
go up and over.
I used to be one of those kids. Anybody else? Anybody online?
Can I have some?
Yeah, by all means,
Sorry.
yes, there's nobody else.
My name is Pat Waitman again, on Buttonwood Road, 45 Buttonwood. I worked at Portsmouth Hospital on patient safety and quality management. And sometimes what we have to realize is that when we start implementing measures, we have to think about our brain and our sequencing. And when all of a sudden we start adding stop signs randomly, how effective is that? Because the brain, I think we're gonna have a lot of people run them because people have to get used to that stop sign and doing what it requires. And all of a sudden, we're just having one on the end of Buttonwood Road. What is the purpose in that one or those two stop signs, the three-way at the end of Buttonwood Road versus the beginning of Buttonwood Road or Dogwood? Like, what creates that and how effective will that be? I think that's just something we have to think about. When we look at errors in healthcare, it's like, what do we do to prevent the errors from occurring and the process in place? So just a thought to think about. Okay.
Hey, Dave Whalen, One Button Road, been there for 23 years. I see the traffic issues from time to time, especially concerning during the ball fields. Appreciate the town's efforts, especially our police department being present and trying to mitigate traffic. It's very noticeable from my backyard when there's a police officer. I can see what 25 looks like going by my backyard. There are folks at times when you put out deterrents like the speed signs that say, if this is how fast you're going, that's the worst weekend ever. That's when people try to get the 60, 65 coming down. I don't mind the kids trying to run to see how fast they can run. That's a good community effort. The concern that I have is that we're throwing remedies without an engineering study to understand what a good solution would be. For me, my my daughter played softball, I'm a softball umpire. One piece that really concerns me is crossing right at Willow and Agamenticus. There's a natural gate that is not an actual width for anyone with any mobility issues, but it's a natural place to cross. And it's like 5 feet off the sidewalk. That is to me the most dangerous. I think if we closed that piece of the fence, people would naturally have to go through the wider opening to the sidewalk and cross at the crosswalk. And at the crosswalk itself, I like the idea of a solar light. I think people need to be courteous and respectful that there are children out there, and the same thing at the Little League field. As far as the table, I have the same concerns on that. Is it gonna really be permanent? Will it damage cars? Will it damage our new fire truck? There are a lot of people that live in there, and we have emergency vehicles going in and out. That's something to consider that should be studied as well. As far as the stop signs, I'm really concerned about that. I think adding another requirement, or, you know, a posting of a stop sign is not going to deter anyone. It may actually increase the bad behavior of rolling through the stop sign. And that's kind of a major concern. I think, I don't know exactly where the second one is, but the one on Buttonwood Road, if it's there, people are gonna end up, it may encourage different behavior, which is to speed up towards the ball fields. Often in the winter, over 23 years, I don't know how many people I've helped out of the snow going from the ball fields down Willow Drive, because they just can't navigate the corner of the snow on the ground. So I'm not an advocate for this without studying it a little bit more intensely, with some engineering studies. And I caution you not to set a precedence that we're gonna end up with additional stop signs every time someone needs people to slow down. So thank you for your time.
Dave, that's on the opposite side of Buttonwood from your house.
That's okay.
So it's there and then double on Willow right there. You got double on either side of Willow and you got Buttonwood.
Yeah, you're talking about the other side.
Yeah.
Which would stop, but I think those pent up people are then gonna,
Yep, go the other way past the water district, yep.
right, they're gonna go past the water district towards the ball fields where the sidewalks are pretty close to street level. You know, and that's the dangerous part. When you're walking a stroller or a dog around that corner, people usually are curious enough to bump out a little bit, but people take it fast through there. I do appreciate the police officers slowing it down. I know they have other more important things. They can't be there every minute. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So the folks who don't know me, my name's Steve Shea. I live on Buttonwood Road. My profession for 25 years was a main state trooper. I was an accident reconstruction expert. For the end of my reconstruction years, I covered, there was 2 of us in the state police that covered every fatal accident in the southern part of the state of Maine. So I have a little bit of experience when it comes to dealing with accidents and traffic and stuff like that. When I first saw this, the posting about another speed table and more stop signs, I immediately had some concerns about it. First of all, I noticed when we had speed tables, speed bumps in Old Mill that kids used to stop on and spin their wheels on. Okay. Typical. I mean, it's gonna happen. And I know that's gonna happen again in this other area. And we removed the other speed bumps from Old Mill years ago, and I don't know the whole story behind that. But I don't think they were extremely successful, or they would still be in place today as well. And I apologize, I had another commitment and I caught only the last part of Dave's thing there. But one of the things I found that in my experience is that the more traffic control devices we have, the less effective they are, because everybody's like, yeah, whatever. And I actually see that now in Old Mill, people rolling through stop signs all the time. And I'll be honest, I'm guilty of that sometimes as well too. And it's kind of something that gets ingrained. You see it, oh, it's just another one. So in my experience shows we don't need any more stop signs. We just need people to be a little more cognizant of what's going on. We need, do we have anybody from the police department here? No, okay. We need a little more effective enforcement in the sense, I don't wanna see people getting tickets. I mean, I gave tickets out for 25 years and, I hated, most of the time I hated giving them out. But targeted enforcement, I think would be a great idea. I know there was something to do with parking. Did you already deal with the parking issue tonight? All right. As part of that, okay, so I noticed that on the ball fields, people park alongside that road that are extremely dangerous because you can't see kids that are getting ready to run out. When we start looking at different avenues of making things safer, especially around the fields, that's one of them, is to block that so that people cannot park there. Most of it, I hate to say it, but it's laziness because they don't want to walk too far, or it's cold, so they want to watch the game from the car. At the far end of the soccer field, that parking lot is empty.
That little parking lot's always empty when the road's full.
Exactly, so it's, you know, I hate to say it's laziness, you know, people don't want to walk that far. Believe me, we all need to walk a lot far. But, so my suggestion for safety for the children that are on that road is that for the fields when they're operating. The rest of the time, there's no. It's like an old farm field there, that when there's nobody there, there's nobody there. And the way I used to do enforcement, targeted enforcement, was I looked at laws. The laws are, you have to, there's a spirit and intent of the law. So some people will go a little bit faster on that section of roadway, and it's natural because it's open, there's nobody there, and there's nobody around. When there's kids in there, that's when we need to do something. So there used to be, and I don't know if there still is, a sign that said like pedestrian crossing or something. They used to go right in the middle of the yellow lines, so people could cross over from parking lots. Is that still there?
No, is it, it's ball field? They put it back?
It's on the side, it's not,
Okay.
it's on the side, sometimes it's in the middle.
Okay.
So, you know, coaches may, so I was a coach too. You know, we would do stuff, you know, whatever, we did whatever we had to do to get things done there. Maybe at the beginning of games, the coaches can make sure that the sign is back out there in the middle of the road, because that is an obstacle essentially that is easily removable, so that it's not there. We don't have to worry about it for plows and everything else in the winter time. And most of the folks that are coaches wouldn't have any problem doing that for the safety of the kids that are there. And one of the other things is putting more stop signs in. I've noticed another thing is an increased road rage, because people have to stop more and it aggravates them. And it's just another thing that we need to think about. Does anybody have any questions for me? No, all right, great, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shea.
Do I allowed to go again?
Do we have anybody else who'd like to speak? Not yet. Okay.
Wallace Mills, Chestnut Drive. I'm against the speed tables for reasons like she has cars that won't go over, I do as well. I've also worked in emergency services for 44 years, and back ambulances and emergency vehicles is gonna slow down responses and not be well, and there are a lot of people up in that area, as well as me. As well as just a lot of, it's not gonna cause what we think it's gonna do. We took out, I lived through the old mill things, and that was a glorious day when they took those out. And I don't mind the stop signs, but the speed bumps, I think, are gonna create more issues than we'll solve.
Excellent, thank you, sir. Anybody else? You may, oh, never mind. Your other house comes in.
My name's Susan Cook, and I'm on Dogwood Drive, and I appreciate the concerns about the ball fields, and it's a bit of a shit show, sorry, that is. But when people come around that water, whatever it's called, it's a NASCAR race. I mean, our neighbor had a baby, I just got on my bicycle again. I turned right around and came home because I have no interest in getting killed. And I've seen close calls with dogs. I've seen little boys popping wheelies and seen cars coming, and it's happening all the time. And the device that tells you, you know, you're looking 47 and a 20 or whatever, that slowed them down. But you can hear the people popping the wheelies or whatever at night. It's just it's a racetrack. And something has to be done. I don't know what it is, but it is not safe to walk your child and these little boys with their bikes, with their baseballs, bats going, all by themselves without their training wheels, and it's like, it just, it's not even fun walking your dog. So you just go up Dogwood, you just keep going up and down, because to take on Willow is just kind of doing and that's ridiculous. So just whatever you can do, but not a speed bump, but there's gotta be something, and certainly we can talk to other towns. But there's just too many young people in that neighborhood now. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted, David, 39 Dogwood Drive. You're absolutely right about people, about people rolling the stop signs. But they're slowing down nonetheless. And that's what the idea is. Okay, so maybe they're not coming to a complete stop or whatever, but they are slowing down because they don't know if one of South Berwick's finest is right there ready. As you said you didn't hear it, but at the outset, they said we have a very small police force. Oh, we have a very small police force, which is true. So a passive stop sign, are people gonna blow through it going a little too fast? Of course, but they're still gonna slow down as they approach it. And that, in my mind, is the idea, is to get that stretch of Willow slowed down.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, but you have to come up here.
I will, absolutely. No, I get it. I see some people don't go too fast, and I notice the corner. When you see somebody coming around a corner, that is an optical illusion. It is an optical illusion. So I used to do speed enforcement. We used to have to gauge speed, visually before we acted, so that we can correlate it with the radar or the laser. And when somebody's coming around the corner, it really looks like they're going a heck of a lot faster than they truly are because of that illusion of coming around the corner. Okay, so in that sense. But we shouldn't put, to your point about a stop sign, people are gonna blow through it, we shouldn't add something that's not gonna be enforced to begin with. If the patrol guys are out there doing their thing, and they do a great job, I'm very happy with the living in South Berwick with the police department and everything else. If they're seeing during certain times of the day, especially during shipyard traffic time, where people are now cutting through two neighborhoods, a lot of that is that too, because at the end of my last career, I worked at the shipyard and I would follow people to go home, and they literally just kept going through both developments and then right out. And those were the ones that are usually going the fastest too, so. Another suggestion I may have is to look at making it local traffic only. So, for these cut through neighborhoods like ours and like this one here, and everybody that's got a dump sticker on their car, is good. And if you see somebody without a dump sticker, check them out. Hey, where do you live? Oh, I live in Portsmouth. Where you going? Oh, I'm going to my friend's house on Button. You're cool. You know what I mean? But maybe that's a way to start. That's people that are cutting through. And I'll see it on the weekends too now, when people are coming southbound, cut through the neighborhoods, and they do fly that. And that's there. So targeted enforcement is the best thing. Personally, I've lived there for 30 some odd years now, and I don't wanna have to deal with it like that. I'll have to deal with it every day too. So on the personal side. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I really buried 48 on the road. I have lived there for 40 years. I have both daughters went through there, both daughters rode their bikes, had dogs. I've had a dog when I take my 5-year-old granddaughter on Willow. It makes me nervous. I go into people's yards, we can't slow them down. People, when I come off, which is not relevant necessarily, but when I come off 91 and someone's been tailgating me, as soon as I get 236, I kind of accelerate. So you talk about road rage. So you have somebody who's coming on Willow and they get to Buttonwood, oh crap, I have to stop. And then, oh, I don't want to stop and I'm going to stop, but then I'm going to take off. And again, I'm serious, this is hard, I mean, like, I've been there 40 years, both daughters, my granddaughter, I've had 2 dogs. It's not fun, I agree, been to the fields, back to the fields, I drive really carefully, I would feel horrible if anything happened to anybody, or horrible if anything happened to anybody. But I'm not super comfortable about the stop sign, but again, hard, that's all it is, guys, hard, having lived there this long. But my other question, I did have a question though, what's happened over the 40 years, because I've lived there the 40 years and we haven't needed this. So I'm serious, I mean, I lived in Portsmouth for a few years, and I mean, I don't go very often, and oh my gosh, the changes that have happened in all that time. So what has happened that this is an issue now? I'm serious about that, that's,
So when I graduated from Marshwood, my class was 150
yes,
in 87. There was 2,600 people in South Berwick,
right, so the
right?
town.
When my wife
itself-
was here, there's now 8,000.
Yeah, that's what I.
So what happened to South Berwick? We now have 8,000 people here. Sanford, Lebanon, Berwick, North Berwick, everybody has doubled and tripled the people driving through here. Shipyard is added back on, we're a little
Yes.
more of 7,000 people right now, going up to probably 10 in the next 3 to 5 years. They're coming from Sanford, Lebanon, Berwick, North Berwick. It's the biggest draw right now, so they're all coming through town.
Yeah.
Waze and everybody having GPS is the worst thing that has ever happened to South
We
Berwick.
mentioned that.
I got campers going down, I got 35, 40-foot campers going down Hooper Sands, and I don't know where they're going. Cause when they get to the end, they're not making the turn,
No, that's what I'm saying.
but if they look at their GPS, they are. And I've seen them on Witch Trot, it's a struggle when you got a 40-foot fifth wheel on Witch Trot. But yeah, that's what's happened, honestly, that's
Thank you.
what's happened to our little town.
Yeah, no, thank you, and I appreciate that, because I was like one of the first owners, and I've seen the change, and it's been lovely, I'm not complaining about that, both my girls went on to do great things, and. You know, my granddaughter's in the system also, but yeah, you're right, I mean, I've been kind of stagnant, I guess. I
You just,
appreciate the answer, thank you,
you're welcome.
thank you.
Anybody else? Any more hands, anybody online? All right, we will close the public hearing on the 2 stop signs and the speed table on Willow and Buttonwood. And I will make a motion to open the public hearing for High Striker Farm Cannabis license renewal. For those in the audience that are new to this, every year where we have marijuana licenses in town, we have them come back, we do a license renewal. We check with the police, fire department, make sure everything's in good standing. Give the neighbors, if there are any, a chance to speak, and then we will later in the evening grant a license for that business. So there's a motion right now on the table. A motion in a second. Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, motion passes 5-0, so we will, is there anybody that would like to speak on the High Striker Farm cannabis renewal? Seeing none. Excellent work. Thank you. The owner is standing on the back wall. You're doing fabulous work. No complaints from the neighbors, everything has been beautiful. Thank you so much. Did a lot for the public knowledge, he did a lot of work to get us here. He did a lot more than he had to, and we greatly appreciate it. Hearing nothing else, we will close that public hearing. And get into public comment. Is there anybody who wishes to comment on something that's not on tonight's rather lengthy agenda? Please step forward, state your name, address, and
Hello, I'm Cameron Mercier, the new owner of 289 Main Street, the old pharmacy. I've been having a little bit of problems with P. Gagnon. You know those propane tanks that are next to the building? Been trying to get them to move them and feel like they've been giving me the runaround. We're trying to get a barber shop. I don't know if you guys heard, barber shop's going in down there. I'm trying to get the windows replaced. The tanks are in front of the windows. I've been getting help from Mary Husky. She's been helping me since like January to try to get this done. So it's been a while. And then DiCarlo said Mark Lawrence owns, because the tanks go to Catbird in 2 apartments up top. I talked to him, he said he didn't own it, so I'm not really sure. He gave me a number to someone else over there. So I don't know if the town has old information on the owner on Gappard, I think that's 279. They haven't called me back yet. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking for a little help to get those tanks moved. You guys can lead me in the right direction.
Jennifer Janelle. Jen is our assistant town manager and possibly later on tonight, our interim town manager. If you don't know how that vote goes.
So that's one thing. Then I actually have a second thing. So 289 Main Street, you know, that's like a big, nice wall and public view. I heard that the community art mural got canceled. When I'm all done construction, it's all cleaned up, I'd like to propose my wall to be the new spot for the mural. So.
The building owner for that mural is the one who backed out of that. That wasn't a decision made by this body of the
Okay.
community. It was the building owner who decided to pull out.
Mhm.
And so I think in your example, you would need to work with the building owner to ensure that their comfort, they're okay with that.
I think that's him.
I'm.
Are you, you're the building owner?
Yeah,
In
289.
the building?
So what you need to do is talk to the art committee.
Okay.
I'm
Do you have a card?
not-
I'm not on it, but she's leading the effort, so you could talk to Mallory at some point, send her an email. And
I forget what the other address was, but I'm proposing my address for a new location.
Okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you were a tenant.
No, I'm the owner of
Gotcha.
289.
Gotcha,
So,
okay. Yes, absolutely, reach out.
okay, do you have a card?
I don't have a card handy, but
I'll.
it's on the website. I'm cooked.
Mallory.
Mallory.
And that's all I got.
Just, can I just say one thing on the P Gagnon topic? Are you new to town?
Yes,
Okay,
I bought in December.
okay. P Gagnon, just so you know, has changed hands over the past
That's what I
number of
heard.
years. And I can speak from my personal experience, that changeover has resulted in a huge decline in service.
That's what I've heard.
So I don't have anything to offer to help, but I'm not surprised by the challenge you're having. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully Jen can maybe make something happen, but.
Awesome.
that's
all I got.
excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to town.
Thank you. Life so far.
It's a great place other than traffic.
Yeah.
Is there anybody, any other members of the public that would like to comment on something not on the agenda? Seeing none, nobody online, we will move from there. We will go to the town manager's report.
Highway Department has installed electrical in the green space next to the community center. They have paved Roadfield Drive. The new Western Stars have been sent to HP Fairfield to have the gearhead reworked for alignment. There was a gap in between where the plow was and the truck was, leaving a little bit of snow, and this is going to be covered under warranty. They fixed the irrigation leak on a Little League field. And they have a new hire who started today. His name is Bill LeMay. Police Department had 8 arrests, 6 accidents, 178 traffic stops in the last 2 weeks. And the Special Olympics torch run will be on June 2nd. South Berwick will be passing the torch to Elliott PD after receiving it from the Berwick PD. Fire Department had 13 calls in the last 2 weeks, which brings them to 151 calls year to date. The EMS program will go live Sunday, May 31st at 7 a.m. This week will be spent preparing for the new cutover. Ambulance 2 is in the station, stocked and awaiting to be licensed by the main EMS. Code enforcement had 15 building permits, 14 inspections, and Alan attended a 2-day training for main building inspectors. Planning and economic development, our new planner is set to start on Monday, July 6th. Transfer station, they are working with Atlantic Recycling on one of the single sort compactors. It's having a pressure issue, and they will be coming out for the 3rd time to try and get that fixed. In the meantime, it can be used manually to get this done. At the library, the Friends of the Library book sale was a wonderful success this year. They raised over $3,000, and that's the highest that they've done in all the years. Tonight, May 26th, is the first community-wide conversation for strategic planning for the library. Tonight is an in-person event. Tuesday, June 2nd will be virtual. Recreation, there are a few new programs for kids and teens this summer. There is a cooking class and an art class. They will be held here at the community center on Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons during the month of July. The senior program last Wednesday on May 20th, the Memorial Day celebration had about 70 people in attendance with Shades of Grass providing musical entertainment. Next Wednesday's luncheon on, this is April 1st, but it's June 1st, will be the second part of Scan the Scam series the police department is doing for the seniors. Assessing the CAI technologies will begin the data model conversion and partially remapping of the town, and that will take approximately 120 days to complete. In the town clerk's office, they did 231 motor vehicle transactions in the past 2 weeks. The last day for in-person absentee voting in the clerk's office will be May 28th at 6 p.m. The last day to request a absentee ballot is June 5th. In-person absentee voting at the Berwick Estates will be on May 29th, beginning at 9 a.m. The town clerk's office will be closed at noon on June 8th for election day setup and the election worker training. The office will be closed on June 9th for the actual election day and on the 10th for post-election processing. There were 182 properties that have outstanding tax amounts for the 2026 year. If the balances remain unpaid by June 4th, there will be a lien placed on the property. The last few weeks, we have had multiple days of packing up offices, packing things for storage, things going into the trailers, and making other piles of things that just need to be disposed of. The administration, finance, and sewer staff moved into the temporary trailers last Wednesday on June 20th. Remember when it was 90 degrees? It was a really hot day. And the farewell party for Tim Pellerin will be here at the community center this Thursday at 2 p.m. If you'd like to say farewell.
All right, at the council's will, I would like to move new business 2674.
John, can I-
Yes,
Sorry, can I just ask some questions?
yep, sorry.
Sorry, just two quick things. With the renovation happening, I know that you are currently out in the parking lot.
Yes.
The clerk's office is still open within town hall.
Yes, the clerk's office, assessing office, and code office are currently still on the second floor in the town hall. Finance and HR are in one trailer with the sewer office on one side. Myself and my assistant Dawn is in the other smaller trailer in the parking lot.
Perfect. And then another one, I assume the answer is because of rain, but the no flags put out yesterday morning was due to rain or just with all the renovation, everything just kind of up there.
The town is not just freezing over.
Oh, I thought that.
No, the flag brigade is.
Yeah.
And their standard issue is they have no place that they're able to dry the flags.
Hmm.
If they're out, so if it is raining, they do not put the flags out because the flags will be ruined if you don't dry them, they'll get instantly molded.
There we go.
So that was given as an explanation and nobody likes it. But unfortunately, without a place to dry those flags, that's why they weren't on.
Perfect.
Good. All right, anyway, back to the council's will, I'd like to move 2674 up ahead, to the planner and community development director.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, any discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Jen, you wanna lead off on this?
We had a panel of 5 people on the interview board. We had 17 applications and we interviewed the top 4 candidates. And we have chosen Jeff Brubaker, who is here, there he is, and to fill the role of the planning and community development director. Jeff, if you want to step up to the podium and give a little information about yourself, and then the town clerk will swear you in.
Great. Here's the town council, interim town manager. Great to be here and it's great to be on board. I am a resident of South Berwick. I live here with my wife and our 3-year-old son and our 15-year-old dog. And we've lived here since 2021. It's a great community. For the past almost 6 years, I've been the town planner for the town of Elliott. And in that time, work closely with DiCarlo on things. So it's kind of good to have gotten up to speed on a number of different projects from him. And I'm just going to try and keep his momentum going. So it's great to be here and I look forward to working with the town manager, the different departments, meeting my coworkers with the town council, planning board, and all those folks. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Welcome aboard. Thank you.
How's your ID?
Yes.
Here, I've seen take note of it. This, however, is going to be your vote. You do not have to raise your hand. You want to just read it out loud if you free sign right there.
Okay. I solemnly swear that I, Jeff Brubaker, will support the Constitution and will obey the laws of the United States and of the state of Maine. That I will, in all respects, observe the provisions of the charter and ordinances of the town of South Berwick, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Planning and Community Development Director. My term of office shall continue unless and until it is rescinded by the town clerk or upon my separation from employment with the town of South Berwick.
Beautiful. Thank you. That is yours.
Yeah.
I will take this as part of my duties as attendant. I do give people a lot of all of the oaths that I do issue. So right over here, you just go ahead and sign. You did it. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. Oh,
So now we'll go through the purely ceremonial confirmation, since you already took your oath. I'll go to confirm Jeff Brubaker as our Planning and Community Development Director.
I will second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion from the council?
We're excited to have it.
Hearing none other than that, all in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Motion passes 5-0. All right. One motion from Ellie. Moving on down the road, we will get to approvals for following minutes. The first one is the annual town budget meeting dated May 19th, 2026.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to adopt the annual town meeting minutes from May 19, 2026 as written.
I'll second it. Discussion on the meeting minutes.
I was hoping that, since I make a motion to amend and it was seconded, I was hoping to add that in, and that, obviously failed. But since there was a vote associated with that amendment, I was hoping it should be added in there. So that's Article 6. So, move to amend the minutes to include a statement related to Article 6. Councilor Klingstrom moved and it was seconded to amend the articles, to amend Article 6 by reducing the total by $340,000, and the amendment failed.
Second.
All right, and a motion and a second with the amendment. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Sam? Aye. Paul? Joel? Aye. Mallory?
Aye.
Vote aye also. That motion passes 5-0. Moving down the chain to public hearing. Hydration cannabis licensing, May 12th, 2026.
I would move to accept the minutes of the public hearing for May 12th, 2026 for hydration cannabis.
I'll second it. We have motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel? Aye. Mallory?
I'll abstain on that.
I'll vote. Also, that passes 4 with 1 abstention. Tonight, working down to town council meeting minutes of May 12th, 2026. Anybody see any corrections that need to be made before we take a motion? Hearing none, so we move to accept the meeting, the town council meeting minutes dated May 12th, 2026 is written.
Second.
Motion in a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Sam?
Aye.
Joel? Aye. Paul?
Boy, yeah. Aye.
Mallory?
I'll abstain. Okay.
I vote aye. Motion passes 4 with 1 abstention. Sorry, I gotta mix it up once in a while. All right, we will move on to signing of the treasury warrants. Whoever put the page numbers next to this.
Yes.
I'll favor.
I'll make a motion.
Yay.
I'll make a motion that we sign the treasurer's warrant dated May 19th, 2026 in the amount of $411,111.18.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel? Aye. Mallory?
Aye.
The vote aye also. That motion passes 5-0. We have no reports of presentations tonight, correct?
Correct.
Excellent. Moving down to 2637, unfinished business, policies, procedures, review, update. So this is coming out of our workshop that we had, town council workshop we had on 5/5/26, which proved to be very successful. With some language that we got out. Joel, thank you for sending this out for us to go through today for adoptions. Talking to Sam earlier, I think this is a little more that we can probably get through this evening going over. I would suggest we come up with a date for a workshop this out, and come back with the final deal if the council is willing to accept that.
Very good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, thank you, Joel.
And I think it needs to be made public too, so there's an opportunity for the public to.
So you want to set a date for a workshop? Sometime in the near future?
Thinking, I know later on the agenda, we're voting for a couple of the workshops.
We're stacking up workshops.
I think the 16th is the joint public planning board one.
Yeah.
The VHB active transportation plan, public input meeting, they were available 30th, we think. Do you think it's something we could do on a regular meeting that may not be as.
If we have a smaller agenda, yeah, I can. You wanna try to shoot for the first meeting in July and keep it light? Or the last meeting in July and keep it light?
We can try.
Let's put it on for the first meeting in July and we'll try to keep it on.
Okay, first meeting.
So that's.
July 7th, or yeah.
14. So I'll move to take up that action on 2637 on the July 14th meeting.
In the form of a workshop. Oh, no, it's yes, a workshop at the meeting, right? How does that work?
If it's gonna be in a meeting, then it would just be.
It'd just be a meeting.
Be an agenda
Yeah,
item.
do it as regular agenda item. But it'll give us time, yeah, it'll give us time to go over what's written here.
Okay. Okay, was there I'm sorry, was there a motion or a second?
Yes. You good?
Yeah, I just don't know, I mean, I guess we could. I mean, at some point, we would probably want the town attorney to weigh in on it, I don't know if we wanna do that before or after we sort of work through the things Joel put together, and this is you know, I mean, I think this is an important document we're putting together here, sort of resetting like our process. and
So,
procedures.
yeah, so once we sit down and hammer it out, then we'll send it to Ben, and Ben will send it back.
Okay.
I agree.
I was actually gonna suggest, because there, I'll be honest, there's a few things in here that are new and like were outside of what I was expecting to be included in this conversation. I would love to understand, get Ben's 2 cents on this before we have a conversation, so if there's anything that we need to like kill immediately, we don't waste our time talking about it. Like to just send it to him and say, hey, any red flags, anything jumping out here that seems of concern. And he can just send that.
I don't have any either way. I'm fine with it.
That's fine with me.
Okay.
I do.
Send it to Ben for an initial read, and then we'll discuss it at the July 14th meeting. All right.
And again, Joel.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I believe a comment from.
Yeah.
Is there public comment for this?
Sure. Sorry, skipped over that since it's our policy. I was.
You want to copy now?
Sure.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Suzanne Esposito, 22 Beach Road. I just wanted to ask if, I looked at the packet and I only saw the current rules of procedure in the packet. In the future, if this is gonna be on an agenda and theoretically you guys are gonna discuss it, sort of go through it, can these things be added to the packet so that
Yes.
we have them in advance?
These were sent to us by Joel in an email today, just for us to look at prior to the meeting.
Gotcha, okay,
But-
I just didn't know what exactly we were referring to, if we we're referring to that or a different document, so this this helps a lot. And
Yeah,
so-
this will be out before we have the meeting on July 14th.
Yeah.
Perfect, and then if you guys have any other changes that you wanna make, or there's other discussions, will you include those as well, in addition to Joel's?
Technically, probably not, because we can't have those discussions unless we're in public. So you'll
Right.
see those on the 14th. So you'll see this, and then anything. You'll,
Well, they could be sent to the town, right, for the packet?
yeah, we're just gonna stay with, you'll see this, and if we have changes, you'll see it on the 14th.
Okay, okay, thank you,
We're not gonna walk astray doing anything right now in emails.
thank you.
But I do think we need to. Somewhere, well, maybe we can retroactively put this in today's packet, or, I mean, I would like to see it put out to the public before, or. Joel provided it to us today as piece of correspondence. So, you know, when, you know,
And the public, it is currently public record.
If you want the meeting minutes for today.
If you,
Alright.
someone do a little post on the town website with the usual stuff that's been happening lately of like, hey, this workshop's happening, and here's the attachment, and here's the document, like, I think that's what we're looking for, it's just.
And we can add that document to the supporting documents to the first.
Perfect.
Okay. Moving down to 2668, that is the parking regulations ordinance that we had the. Public hearing on, we were gonna move that to our next scheduled meeting, which will also be July 14th, correct? June.
June 23rd.
Yes. Because we're moving the night, so that'll move to June 23rd, meet with the chief of police to get his wishes on that and get that hammered out. I'll make a motion to move back to the June 23rd meeting, 6 o'clock here.
Okay.
Motion in a second, any discussion?
Yeah, can I just add something to it? This is actually brought up, that's very curious, how did this kind of come up? Have we done studies? What brought the suggestion? Was the police department involved at all with it or no?
What suggestion?
For the,
parking regulations.
oh, sorry, I'm jumping ahead, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, next one.
You're talking to stuff.
You're doing great.
Yes, I got it. Yeah, thumbs down, snap into it, Joe. So we're on, we're moving the Hall Street parking to June 23rd. Motion in a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to a vote, Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Mallory? Vote aye also, motion passes 5-0. Now the 2669, adding 2 stop signs on Buttonwood and Willow Drive. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak again on that? Seeing none, I'll bring it back.
This, Donna again from the grade, just please keep in mind with the speed bumps, and not just the speed bumps in Egomenicus, but also the speed bumps that you have. I don't even know the names of our streets, and I lived here forever, but the one over by Ryan Street and the one up by Academy, I can't drive in those roads at all. So, I have to go through town. So just so you know that I don't wanna go all the way around town to go to the dump. I don't wanna go into town to make more traffic. So just be aware that these speed bumps are too big for cars. And I appreciate that, thank you.
Yep, we'll bring it back to the table, we'll discuss it, and after our discussion, if anybody from the public wants to speak on this topic, I will open it back up to them.
Yeah, I would, you know, I think the question about, where, you know, where this came from, but more importantly, I think, you know, I think people have different interpretations of what a speed bump is, or what we would be putting in as a speed bump. Whether the stop signs will work or not, why they were placed there. I mean, I do have some questions. I think the question of, you know, just where, what impact this will have, other alternatives. I mean, I think it's a big deal. Sam and I, and actually Mallory for a while, have been working with these consultants on traffic calming, mainly related to downtown. They have some ideas, and I think Sam will be talking about that later when we schedule a workshop. I mean, this is just it's a town-wide issue, I think, about how we're trying to deal with traffic calming and speed. And, I guess this is a long way of saying, let's move that to, I would be in favor of moving. I'm not ready to take action on this right now.
My 2 cents, I think that it's clear to me that there's a traffic problem on Willow Drive. for sure, that there's speeds are too high, pedestrian safety. But I'm not convinced that the speed table and the stop signs are the solution. I think that this was extremely beneficial, the public hearing, us beginning this conversation about this. But I think hearing from a number of people about their concerns about a speed table, concerns about a stop sign, I'm with you. But I do think it is an opportunity for the town. Like, I think the idea of the active transportation committee, if there's any like ideas that could come out of that, I think it's an opportunity for us to like look at this the right way, whether that's a study or piggybacking off of the active transportation study. But I'm just not convinced that the stop signs on the table right now are the right move.
I'll just add my part to it. I'm on beach, so I'm on that road a lot. I have young children as well, but I think also kind of top of this and brought up, thank you for mentioning that the DOT doesn't even recommend this as a way to curb traffic. And it kind of goes back to like, have we done a study on recommendations? Like where, like how did this get brought up? I know we could do a radar, we could do a sign there and I could help our police department see the high traffic areas. But what, like, I didn't mind the idea of local traffic only, don't hate that. But like, where have we directed this? Where did the, like, have we done a study yet, or we should kind of, is that the goal of the?
I'm trying to figure out where this came from, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It popped up in front of us and I don't know where this came from.
Okay.
We've received several complaints over the years to slow traffic down in Willow, and the road commissioner and Jay Reddy Marker, the head works director, had come up with these for solutions.
Okay. That's all right, at least, thank you, at least I know where it came from now. What is the council's will?
I'll just make, I got a quick comment to, basically agree with Joel Mallory and Paul and plug the active transportation plan.
Sorry.
And later in this meeting, we'll be scheduling a workshop where public input is allowed. This quarter is included as one in that draft plan that requires attention for traffic calming. But again, I agree, there needs to be some more real data put behind this and some study or otherwise that validates the design approach in my opinion.
Right.
So I'm in agreement with the rest of the council here that I don't believe we should take action now while understanding something should be done. So
I'll entertain a motion, however you guys wanna craft it.
Make a motion that the town council this evening take no action on item 26-69 regarding adding 2 stop signs on Buttonwood Road / Willow Drive.
second,
Motion and a second. Any discussion from the public?
I So do you guys think that there's opportunity with active transportation committee?
yeah, it is,
It's not, but
that quarter is on the list of areas in town that require addressing. It wasn't identified as one that will have for this particular contract, for VHB's contract, they've included money for 3 conceptual designs. It wasn't included on that list of 3, but that's not to say we can't engage them shortly thereafter to do the same.
and at our, persistence, I think they've also decided to sort of, we've asked them to come up with sort of rural traffic, well, not that Aggies is the state's of rural, but, or maybe it is, but to come up with rural traffic calming measures that not just for downtown, but for areas that may, have speed issues, whether they're in rural locations or suburban locations. And I think they will often do that.
Yeah, and the intent there would be that have a concept that even DPW could repeat and have some guidance on how to implement. But yeah. I think, 6:30 if we schedule that meeting for June 30th, I think that's gonna be their first presentation to the plan to the public and to council, so. If things are still moving despite our action, I think.
We have a motion and a second, any further discussion, hearing none, Sam?
Aye.
Joe? Aye. Paul?
Aye.
Mallory?
Hi.
I vote aye also, motion passes 5-0. Moving down to 2671, take action on High Striker Farm cannabis renewal. Anybody in the public would like to speak to that? Hearing none.
Awkwardly, I'm just gonna leave that.
Quietly exit stage right. Thank you for coming.
Guys.
I'll make the motion to approve the medical registered caregiver renewal application for High Striker Farm. They are a business in good standing. We have letters from the police chief, fire chief. No issues out there. And again, he has done a great job dealing with some issues he had early on with odor, and his neighbors greatly appreciate it.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Sam?
Aye.
Paul? Aye. Joel? Aye. Mallory?
Aye.
I vote aye also. That motion passes 5-0. Moving on to the interim town manager contract, 2673. Anybody from the public wish to speak on the contract for the interim town manager that you haven't seen? All right, so I'll bring it back to the council. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the interim town manager's contract that we went over in executive session 2 weeks ago.
Second.
Yep. We have a motion in a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Mallory?
Aye.
I vote aye also. Motion passes 5-0. All right, now to the important part. Moving on to naming the interim town manager. You don't know it, town manager, Tim Pellerin submitted his resignation on April 28th. In order to ensure continuity of operations during the recruitment process. With the new town manager, an interim town manager appointment is required. Assistant Town Manager Jennifer Janelle has been proposed to serve as interim town manager effective May 30th, 2026. I will make the motion to approve Jen to take over as interim town manager effective on May 30th, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I will move to a vote. Sam?
Aye.
Paul? Aye. Joel? Aye. Mallory? I vote aye also. Jen, welcome aboard again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you again. Okay, moving down to new business. We did away with the first one, so 2675, recommitment of taxes.
So this is a three-step process. We need to release Tim Pellerin from all the legal aspects of the taxes, commit them to myself, and then recommit the amount that has been not collected for all the different years.
So we need 3 different motions.
Yes. There's multiple forms to sign after because we have to sign it for each year with the amount that's been unpaid.
I moved to motion to remove Tim Pellerin as tax collector of the municipality of South Berwick.
Second?
Yeah.
Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none. We will vote, Sam?
Aye.
Paul? Aye. Joel? Aye. Mallory?
Aye.
I vote aye also, motion passes 5-0.
And then next. I'll make a motion to commit Jennifer Janelle as the tax collector for the town center.
Second. Motion and a second, any discussion on that one? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote, Sam?
Aye.
Paul? Aye. Joel? Aye. Mallory?
Aye.
I vote aye also, that motion passes 5-0. Yeah, there is.
It's on the beginning page 393, but
Do we need to vote to sign this or do we just sign it?
I think by saying aye.
Yeah, you should vote.
Okay.
I'm just struggling with the language. Third one.
Struggling to see the third one.
It's to agree to sign the certificate of recommitment in the amount of $393,884.06.
So moved.
Second. A motion and a second on that one. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel? Aye. Mallory?
Aye.
I vote aye also, motion passes 5-0. All right, so 2676. new town manager discussion, which will be pretty much an executive session for us to decide a plan forward on how we want to do this, who we want to hire. Council's will is to do it after the next meeting, before the next meeting, or on an off day.
My preference would be to do this on an off day.
I
I feel like we need to have a dedicated discussion on this topic.
would agree.
And so,
So, yeah,
since this is, not subject to public release, is it acceptable for us to email each other pertaining to this to help that process along?
I'm gonna go with no, but I would like to check with Ben, because when we start reviewing resumes for this, we're gonna have to go back and forth, so I would like to get some info from Ben on exactly, yes. Because otherwise we'll never get this done.
Yeah, all right.
yeah, because ideally we can get the job description and ironed out. I think that's like our biggest, like our step number one is like job description. I thought we can figure out where we're gonna go today.
I'll reach out to Ben tomorrow morning, and I'll send a message to everybody, on what we can do. With that being said, dates for an executive session will all be here.
Can we do, can people, for executive session, is there a remote component to that, or I mean, we're coming in through a pretty rough time? Okay.
Because the problem is, I can't guarantee who's sitting next to you in your house.
Sure.
Can I,
My dog, well, yes, my dog, since my dog's still alive.
could I suggest perhaps a night next week, or I also think that this council has a little more flexibility for us to meet, like not in the evenings. I don't know, sounds good for everybody, but.
I cannot confirm until next week, I might be traveling for work.
I would suggest, what about the 9th? I know we have later on in our evening, we have plans to move our June 9th regular meeting, but we could meet an executive session on the 9th. I know there's election day, but whatever.
Yeah, I got no issue with that.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that work?
Yep.
And then you guys can meet right here.
Great. Early, can everybody do 5? Can you get voted and be here by 5? So
We
we
can do it earlier.
all of us working in traffic.
Just put it.
I can get a hovercraft.
Okay, so-
Do the rolling stop. Yeah.
How about 4 o'clock here? How about 4 o'clock here on the 9th? Does that work? 4 o'clock. All right. 4 o'clock at night.
I'll double check with Nikki just to make sure nothing else. is
Okay.
Yeah, we need to go to another location or something. Just kick us out.
All right, so I'll make a motion to. The new meta discussion will be on June 9th at 4 P.M. here,
Executive session.
executive session.
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Hearing none, Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel? Aye, Don? I vote aye also, motion passes 4-0. 2677, accept Sam's resignation from the town hall committee. I will make a motion to accept Sam's resignation from the town hall committee.
Sorry, we picked 4 o'clock for the.
Yes. I'm in my network.
Second.
I was hoping Sam would second that. All right, we have a motion in a second, understanding why he did it, any discussion? Hearing none, Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel? Aye. Valerie?
Aye.
I vote aye also, that motion passes 5-0. We have a new opening. For the town hall committee.
That was decided the last day.
Yeah,
Let's go.
we should definitely-
Sorry for the meeting today.
I'll make a motion to appoint Joel to the town hall project committee.
I will second that one. So we have a motion in a second, any discussion?
Thank you for your service.
No worries. Sam?
Aye.
Paul? Aye. Thank you, Joel. Joel? Aye. Mallory?
Aye.
I vote aye also, motion passes 5-0. Just for the public's knowledge on that, Valerie serves on it. It would serve no purpose for me to join because Mallory and I will both be leaving at the end of this year. So we're trying to make sure that the councilors sitting on that committee are actually gonna be here serving next year. And Joel graciously stepped up. But you know, that's very interesting.
Doesn't hit me.
Right.
TBD.
All right, 2678, reschedule the June 9th town council meeting. So realistically, with what we have on the schedule, we can just skip that one and move everything to the last meeting in June.
Oh, so we're not rescheduling the 9th,
Well,
16th?
So.
Oh, because the 16th we have.
We're gonna be
Well,
here on
the
the
public hearing on the 16th for the,
Yep.
town planning board.
Yeah.
The comp plan.
Yep,
Should we
I mean,
just,
that would be, right now, that's the only thing we're doing.
correct.
should we just have a meeting then? Okay.
No,
Have to be time specific.
Well, the comp plan is set for six.
Public hearing. Do you have any concerns with us just not having a meeting early June? Like in terms of,
The only thing, if it's, things have due dates to be mailed, I have to mail it sooner, but I think have someone.
Yeah, we
sign
sign,
the
sign.
warrant.
Sounds like
Yeah,
we-
that would be the biggest concern.
okay,
That works, and we can skip that.
Okay, I'll make the motion
I'm
that,
not going anywhere for a while, so.
I will make the motion that we cancel the June 9th town council meeting.
Second,
Motion in a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
I,
Joel? Aye. Mallory?
Hi,
I vote aye also, that motion passes 5-0. Down to 2016 downtown facade grant application, 275 Main Street. So we received an application, the committee did, the committee at the time was Jen, myself, and Mr. Pellerin, because we lost to Carlo. We received an application for facade grant, the amount of $10,000. We reviewed it, it meets all the parameters. It's gonna be used to help the new business become established in downtown. Use is within the application guidelines. It comes out of the transit downtown TIF funds, and we did not expend anywhere close to what we had,
That's correct.
right, for the grants. So, I will move to approve the facade grant, the amount of $10,000.
will
To
second.
275 Main Street.
this wasn't for the gentleman that's here,
No, he's 279.
okay,
I would just say that, I'm excited to have the new business in town, and, I think that the use is great considering the gap that, Will something left.
Yes, it really is. Jen left something really big and this, they've been around, seasonal Maine's been around for quite a few years, so this should be a good draw and hopefully this year, home for the holidays, they do great.
Yeah.
So we have motion motion on the table, first and second, we'll do a vote, Sam,
Aye.
Paul,
I,
Joel, Mallory.
hi.
I vote aye also, that motion passes 5-0. Down to the micro grant application for Catherine.
I just have a question. It says the committee, what committee reviewed and approved the application? Is that the downtown revitalization committee or the? What,
For the micro grant.
yeah. Who
That's
actually
the
reviews
same.
it? Huh?
That's the same group, it's myself, John, and Tim, and you, whether you're wrong.
Which will be now Mr. Brubaker,
Yeah.
whether he volunteers or not, right? Part of it,
Yes, he's gonna be a part of it.
yes, he took the job. So yeah, the council approved the program in January 2026, right? And trying to help new businesses come in town.
Right.
It's, again, it seems to be working well. So, I will entertain a motion for that micro grant.
I will,
They have a list of
They have a
items
list.
you're gonna purchase.
It's on page 140.
It's to help the businesses get up and running.
there, yeah.
Crushed ice machine, underbar freezer. Bubble smoker. Drink top pressure.
Like
Like,
water.
it's on the phone.
Yes. Paul made a motion.
Second.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, take myself.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, any further discussion?
So Jen, or anybody, how much money did we set aside for this program? The micro grant, not the facade, I mean, they're two separate programs, right? Facade grant.
Yes.
It's falling under the umbrella of $100,000 to help local businesses in the downtown. So this is a small piece of that, $100,000.
I think it was 40, right? 40,000.
I
I think I remember.
There's 100 for the facade grant program plus the.
No,
No.
it was-
No.
Two separate.
It is, 100 included the Northeastern Country Forward. That was 30.
Correct.
Some for this micro grant. And then. Voting on this, I forget what the third part, the third or fourth thing that Dakota brought to us.
The facade was,
Facade,
the facade was
Facade,
standalone
okay.
30. So we have a motion and a second. There is no more discussion, well, we're waiting for Jen to get that or to go.
I'm good if you're good.
Yeah, I'm good, yeah.
Okay, we'll move to a vote, Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Valerie?
Aye.
I vote aye also, full bound, yeah, motion passes 4 with 1 abstention. Moving down to Tom Collins, reappointment to zoning board of appeals.
It says that the zoning board of appeals chair has requested the reappointment. I'm just, does anyone know what I have no qualms with the reappointment, but I'm just wondering what the. Is there a hearing coming up? Do we know?
No, there was a long email chat came from Tom
Okay,
to the chair,
okay.
just requesting what the reappointment process
Okay.
was, and so. I believe his name is Jeff, is the chair, he just pushed it over to Tim, and we're just doing it a little bit before.
I will go ahead and make a motion to reappoint Tom Collins to the zoning board of appeals, with a term ending June 30th, 2029.
We have a motion in a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote, Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel? Aye. Vote aye also, motion passes, did I get you, Mallory?
Aye.
Yeah. Me. All right, motion passes 5-0. Instead of anything, this year. All right, 2683, delinquent tax interest rates.
This is a piece that Jen, the current attorney, had said we could take off the actual warrant, but that we still, as a board, you need to approve these pieces, you have that authority to do that. And every year the state puts out an amount for the delinquent tax rates, and that's what we always do.
So this is state recommended interest rate for delinquent taxes.
That is correct.
Does it align with a fiscal year? So for example, would this be 7% set for fiscal year 27?
Starting July 1st, that is correct.
All right, I will make a motion to approve the 7% interest rate on unpaid taxes not paid on the due dates of 1/2 due on September 30th, 2026, and 1/2 due on March 31st, 2027.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none. Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Valerie?
Aye.
I vote aye also, motion passes 5-0. Moving down to the tax club.
And this again is one of the things that the board has the authority to approve, the tax club.
It just. It used to be on the town warrant, we cut it off the town warrant, the town doesn't vote on it, it's ours to vote on, so.
So Jen, how many people make use of that, you know?
There is quite a few, I believe Heather said there was 130-ish people that do it. It's an 8-month program that you don't have to pay any interest, and you pay the same amount for the first 8 months.
Okay.
So the goal of it is to kind of help our taxpayers.
Absolutely, yes, and we have a form that's right online, if anyone's interested, just a one pager, and if. Back in September.
All right, I will vote to approve the continuance of the tax club for fiscal year 27 in accordance with the rules and regulations of governing said tax club.
Second.
Motion in a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, I will go to vote, Sam.
Aye.
Paul.
Aye.
Joel. Aye. Valerie.
Aye.
I vote aye also, motion passes 5-0. On the Housing Opportunity Program Municipal Ordinance Development Grant.
This is a grant that DiCarlo got, to help with Brittany Spencer right before they both left. We have been, given this money, and this is to help for the development of LD 1829 and the provisions. DiCarlo is still working on that, with Southern Maine Planning and the town's attorney. And this will cover the costs of those provisions.
Where's the downside of this?
There's no match. We just have to show them the ordinances before we finalize them on our end.
Do we have any, sorry,
No,
is there any summary or anything related to what they intend or the application itself? I'm just curious what they applied, what the application looked like and what the 10,000 was intended to be used for. Obviously, this fits within the guidelines, but just more specifics on.
I can get you a copy of that application.
Right, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my only question is what, you know, we have a new planner coming on board and maybe I'm diving into something that. Well, outside this, but you know, what's his role? You know, Jeff's coming on board in a month. Who's, you know, well, I guess it goes to what Sam said. I guess I'm not sure what the application, what we're actually doing with the money. I guess is what I would be interested in.
So DiCarlo is actively working on this project with the lawyer and has been. Right, so now this will help cover some of those additional costs as him as a contractor instead of an employee.
And correct me if I'm wrong with this, we have until July 31st, 2027 to submit information to get the 10,000 back.
We already have been funded with 10,000.
Okay.
So now we just need to organize all of our expenses that we have.
That add up to it.
Add up to it, yes.
Yeah.
I'll move to accept the Housing Opportunity Program Municipal Ordinance Development Grant in the amount of $10,000 and authorize the appropriate municipal officials to execute related documents.
Second.
Motion and a tag per second. We will go to a vote. Sam?
Aye.
Joel?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Mallory?
Aye.
I vote aye also. Motion passes 5-0. All right. 2686, I asked to add this to the agenda, just we received some emails, we got had some conversations on our way out of the town meeting. I talked to Joel after the town meeting, understanding that when you and Sam went to meet with the Berwick town manager, you went as residents, understanding that. Understanding that, yes, while it is legal, sometimes what is right isn't always the best thing to do, but that being said. I'm sure we'll have more of this discussion. When we get into rules, regulations and whatnot on that end of it, so again. When I talked to Joel, just for the people that reached out to me, they did go as. Citizens, correct, or residents? At some point during that meeting, obviously I realized you were also counselors, but that was set up as you guys going as residents. Understanding when you're an elected official, that you still continue to have your residency rights. However, you also are an elected official, so it goes both ways. You're representing the town. Even as a resident, you're still viewed as representing the town, so. I just wanted to get that out there, so no one thought we were pushing that under the board of, right, discussion was brought up. Anybody have anything they'd like to, sorry, public?
I would like to just also say, we did receive an email about this issue from a resident, David McDermott, and I think even though I think the meeting was probably very well intentioned, I was quite stunned to hear that our counselors were meeting with other town managers without notifying at a minimum our own town manager. And I really think that that was very much crossing a line. We are not town managers. If the council would like to apply to be our town manager, knock yourself out. But I think that that was really out of line.
I was very uncomfortable with it as well. I think, and again, I'm sure it was very well intentioned. I think fact finding is something we need to do. I think there's a bunch of different ways to do it. I think, meeting with the manager there is one thing, but I feel, really strongly feel that once you, and I don't know whether this happened or not, but once you got to the point where you were inquiring whether the town of Berwick or North Berwick, if you're going to meet with them, would be interested in regionalizing the service with us. And I don't know if that's what happened or not. That to me crosses a big line. If that's gonna happen, the town manager should be there, the fire chief should be there, whatever department head that we're impacting should be part of those meetings. And I have no problem about us talking about regionalization and trying to encourage that with our staff, with our town manager, and at some point, maybe we talk about that and make a motion to do that. But I was very uncomfortable with that discussion, so. And I just feel, again, like, without knowing where the discussion went, that, if it ended up with a discussion about regionalization and their interests, that's a problem, so.
Additionally, we're about to embark on the process of hiring a manager. And I think everyone on the council has expressed their desire to have someone with some past experience. And I think town managers are very well versed on how a town manager and town council form of government should operate. And I think we are walking a fine line where we are no longer operating in that way. And I have concerns about the impact of that on our ability to hire as well.
I'll agree with that as well.
Sorry, I should have opened that up to the public comment, but there was no data. We didn't know what we're talking about.
I can, thank you, Susanna Esposito, 22 Beach Road. I would like to speak to this as well. I was at the annual town meeting and I was very surprised to hear that two of the counselors may have met with town managers by the reaction from the other counselors and the staff. I'm gonna say that nobody was aware of that by the looks on everyone's faces and the animation. So I wanted to sort of inquire a little bit and find out. The statement that was made was that regionalization was talked about with these town managers and they were excited about it. So I'd like to know to what extent you guys spoke about regionalization, sort of what you talked about. And I know we're talking about fine lines here, but I think this particular situation is a clear overstep of the town manager council form of government. There was no conversation, as it seems, with the town staff or leadership. There was no conversation with the council. And it is clear in your rules of order and procedure what you're allowed to do for inquiry, what you're allowed to do as a council, which is a body. So again, I've been up here multiple times talking about the council as a body versus individual actions. Again, we had the policies and procedures on the agenda tonight, and again, it's getting moved down the road because we didn't have the material ready for everybody to weigh in on. And I'm concerned that we keep kicking these rules and procedures down the road, and we have counselors that do not understand their roles and responsibilities or what is written in our code and what is written in the state legislature and all of the rules that we follow. Every meeting, every week, we seem to be coming up against the same issue of, well, I was speaking as a resident, I was speaking as myself. I didn't know. And I understand that there's a learning curve to all this stuff, but I think we're past the point now of, I don't know. And so I'd like to understand what was discussed about regionalization. What did the other towns signal to you that they were excited about? And if we are now in an understanding that maybe that was not the right way to go about that, or if the counselors believed that was the right course of action to handle that. Thank you very much. I appreciate
I
it.
think it was about 3 sentences. That were two. I'll go for it.
Okay. I reached out to Arthur because I followed Berwick very closely. I like their podcasts. I think they're really good at communicating what's happening over there to their residents. And I wanted to talk to him about his 0% budget. How did he do it? How was he able in a very rough time on taxpayers to have a 0% increased budget? I also wanted to meet him. my in-laws live in Berwick and we are very close towns and wanted to have a conversation. I set up the meeting. I was having a conversation with Sam and said, would you be interested in attending this with me? He said, yes. So if there's someone that needs to be on trial here, it is me. I went in as a resident who happens to be a town councilor. He knew that I was a town councilor, and one of the first comments that came out was said, like, we are not here on behalf of the council. We have nothing's been voted on, nothing's been talked about. I'm just curious, like, how did you do it? We talked about budget, which led into a conversation about how they have limited. He went to his department heads and said, you can do a 3% increase at max. Anything other than that, I will send it back. And they were able to cut some items, and then that shifted to potentially sharing resources, vehicles, items like that moving forward.
Not even specifically with South Berwick.
Yeah.
Just how that's leveraged as a tool.
We shifted to having conversations about water bill, I believe is the one, that currently is massively millions over budget because they regionalized. I mean, it's because they brought in EMS locally, which is the conversation of how it can not be sustainable unless it's really heavily relied on taxpayers or unless it's regionalized. And we were there for 35, 40 minutes.
I was home 45 minutes after I left.
And that was it.
I guess my question is, would that meeting have occurred if you were not in?
I would hope so.
I can't imagine either one of you would have said, I want to go into the Berwick Town Manager, because I'm just the red, like if you had been elected and you weren't on this seat. And I think that's kind of the fine
As a
line.
business owner, yeah, it would have. Yeah,
You would have just out of the blue
Yeah.
said, I want to meet with the Berwick
Which-
Town Manager.
I mean, one, I wanted to go there anyways because my aunt now works there, so the goal was to meet her as well. But second, I can understand the potential gray lines on this, but the part that kind of like is kind of getting on my nerves with this is I have heard nothing since I moved to this town except for the burden on taxpayers and the increase. And now being on town council, I've heard the same thing as well, and it feels like any conversation to kind of shift that or to learn information is met with this massive issue. I didn't want to ask the council for permission because I wasn't trying to do anything. I was trying to ask questions to then come to the council and say, Berwick is potentially interested in regionalizing some property, here's what we can do. Like Arthur like laid out and said, like, your next step should be X, Y, and Z. Like, yeah, that's fine, but like, we're not ready for that. We wanted to have a conversation. If that's not allowed, it's kind of frustrating that it feels like we're not going to serve the residents of South Berwick to the best of our ability to not talk to local towns that are the same size that are going through the same issues.
Speaking solely for myself, the issue with this is that no one else was aware. The town manager, the council, no one else was looped in. I don't have the issue with the meeting itself, but no one else was aware that this occurred. That is speaking with one counselor where my gripe is that we were not looped.
if I may, I have been asking some questions about meetings that the chair and vice chair have had with department heads pertaining to personnel complaints about me. Y'all haven't been able to provide me any information about those undocumented meetings. So respectfully, like, yes,
not an entire true statement.
there's no meeting minutes of it.
There
There
were no meeting minutes,
Yeah.
and as I explained to you in text, there were no meeting minutes. It was an informal meeting asked by a couple of department heads to speak to the chair and vice chair about concerns they had. It wasn't a scheduled meeting. There was no meetings, there was no minutes taken. It was a sit around the table, and this is our problems we're seeing right now. It's creating stress on our people. That's all it was. I explained that very clearly.
And I have to say, as soon as my name got brought up in those meetings, I have a legal right by the state to be involved. So I'm just, the dichotomy of the concerns related to this one 45-minute meeting of just talking to a neighbor, like really, like, versus that is just sort of.
So it's
like,
not just,
do as I say, not as I do.
it's so. Difference, one, my own town manager, I'm the chair of the council. He can talk to me about counselors, that's what the chair does. That's what the town manager does. The department heads wanted to speak to me. I am the chair of the town council right now, so that was my role. This again, I'm with everybody else. I don't have an issue with you talking to them. It came up at the town meeting. 3 people talked to me on the way out of the town meeting, asking me questions about it. That's why I went back and talked to Joel and found out how Joel went, correct? You and I had that conversation right there. That's why I asked Joel. You were sitting right next to him. It's not just me, it's not just Valerie, it's not just Paul. We have residents that have concerns. They've never seen this. Now granted, we have new counselors, you have new views, you have new way of doing things. Doesn't mean it's wrong. But in 12 years, I've never seen it done that way. Again, it doesn't mean it's wrong. But the public that comes to these meetings and the public that comes to our town meetings are the same people that have been going for 20 or 40 years. They're used to this. Now they're seeing a horseless carriage drive down the street, and so they're having concerns. We're voicing the concerns.
And to every person that has come to you, people have come to me, and if people have concerns, they need to file complaints. We go through that process because we can't be operating off of the, word on the street. That's another concern that I have.
So there isn't a complaint there. There's nothing you did wrong.
What I'm saying is and I apologize, I don't mean to be rude.
No, it's okay.
Cut you off.
No, it's fine. I'm doing the same thing you.
Like, if 3 people came to you and said they have concerns, what I'm saying is like, I've also been thanked for the work that I am doing specifically pertaining to, communication and talking and breaking down silos. So it's like, I hear you are hearing concerns, but I am not hearing those except for from a couple people on this body. And so again, like if it's just people, like you said, if they're not used to a change, I mean,
Well,
that's
I-
and
I'm sorry.
oh, no, I appreciate your concern. I really do, because Paul, I think you and I messaged and like I hear what you're saying, I really do. But I just don't think this particular instance
I feel like I'm
rises to that level.
right, but I do think there were concerns. There were concerns from ex-town councilors who were relayed to me about it, and they were actually sort of stunned that it happened. I mean, I guess what worries me the most is a couple of things. One, you're already, and I don't know whether you're planning to do this, to go meet with the Berwick town manager. I mean, and if you are, I hope to let us know. I don't know what you're gonna talk about. If you're gonna talk about regionalization of services, then I think the town manager and the fire chief should be there. And, or we should move as a body to, say, okay, do that. And I'm gonna go back to what Valerie said, and I believe this really strongly. Any manager that we are looking to hire is going to be watching this meeting and our meetings. And if they think we have town councilors who are going behind their back and meeting with other towns about the services we provide, and they are not involved in discussing those services, we're never gonna find anyone. And if we do find anybody, they're gonna leave within a year. So I mean, that's my concern. And I said to both of you, I enjoy working with you, and I think we can do great things. But I think there's some boundaries that we need to observe. And I think going and talking to towns about regionalization or other services that we provide without our knowledge, without the manager's knowledge, is a problem. And I'm very worried about it. But I mean, I'm sort of ready to just sort of move on from it as well. If we can.
Just hang on. Point of order. The only one that recognizes is me.
I
I just wanna make sure we're staying within, because I don't wanna get called out for that, Joe. That's fine. Please.
Sure.
She said it like this.
I couldn't see you, I'm sorry, I saw his hand.
It's all good.
Just another comment. The thing that made this feel not great as well, I don't know if this is captured, but people only found out about that at the annual town meeting in the middle of an amendment to a vote. It felt a little manipulative in that moment to only hear about it then from the 2 counselors that were making an amendment to reduce the amount. It came across as in that moment, a slip in of, well, we also met with these people and they're really excited. And I value that we could be looking at regionalization. It just didn't feel. I hadn't heard you guys speak about regionalization at any of your council meetings. I hadn't heard about it in a workshop. I hadn't heard from the council that this meeting was happening. So it seemed a little disingenuous to say that to the public and not have everybody know what was going on. And in addition, there have been multiple people speaking at these council meetings about these issues, whether it's the friction with the council, with staff, with the communication. There have been articles in the Southburg Reporter about it. I've been up here, multiple people have been speaking, and now 3 council members just all reiterated that they had some concerns about this. What I'm concerned about is the response. It seems like continual arguing that it doesn't matter who has concerns because other people are doing things and you should be able to do it. And when all of these people are saying to you, we have concerns, I would just like you to maybe take a beat and listen to those concerns, even if you don't agree, and say, well, if all of the counselors and a lot of people from the public are saying this, even though I'm also hearing from A, B, and C, maybe I should listen, maybe I should think about if this means something or how I can respond. Because saying, well, I can do it anyway because I want to, if that is your response as a counselor, I don't think that's good enough. Because I do think this was wrong. I do think it violates the counselor manager form of government because you're getting involved with administrative duties with no authority from the council and not acting as a body and not on a subcommittee authorized by the council. None of those things gave you guys the authority to talk about regionalization for South Berwick. Because we don't know what happened in that conversation. So if there was some conversation about, well, we would love to do it, maybe the numbers here and there and and then the town can't fulfill that. That does not position us well with our neighboring towns. And it certainly does not position us well for people looking to come and be our next town manager. I think if you watch our council meetings, you will see that we're not functioning to our best capability right now. And so those were the reasons that I had my concerns. And that I would really like to hear more of a response to concerns of. I'll think about that. I'll think about how that affects everybody and how that affects the council and see some action taken to address this. Thank you. That's it, I promise.
All right, again, we can have more discussions when we have our workshop. I would like to end this on a positive note, however, I do appreciate Sandy you sending out prior to the town meeting. What you were going to bring up for that amendment. It was well thought out, figures were there. If someone was gonna get up and talk about cutting the budget or cutting that place, you did a good job in what you did a good job getting it to us. So I appreciate that. That was not a surprise. That we knew that was coming. Appreciated that. That was great communication and the whole council knew what you were getting up there. So I appreciate that. That part again, I want to try to end this part on a positive note. We seem to be beating everything down and we have some stuff to work on and we will work our way through it. But I did truly appreciate that. I think that came out of our workshop. That communication piece, I think that came out of our 5th workshop and I appreciate that.
Yeah, can I make one more comment too?
Yes,
On that
go ahead.
note? And I, of course, and also I want people to know I called Nick Hamill prior to the meeting too. And told him what I was going to do. But also I think, you know, we as individuals are here, we were elected to be here and we have disagreements. And if we didn't, that would just be pretty dang boring. And I think disagreements breed like better debate and conversation. And I think my personal opinion is that, you know, all of us together, we can, for the most part, at the end of the meeting, adjourn and move on from any disagreement we had. I personally don't think that like it inhibits us from being progressive and getting things done and understanding what's best for South Berwick. Again, like I said, when I messaged with Paul after that and he voiced his concerns, I was listening and I hear what you're saying and I see how it could be perceived. It's not avoiding I'm not avoiding like, you know, I'm not being stubborn, I don't think, and not changing my mind per se because of the, you know, the majority of the council thinks otherwise and just pushing my opinion because that's what I was put here to do. But yes, I think I'm trying to be on a high note as well as we end here. Like, I mean, dissent is patriotic, if you ask me, and, you know, that's all I can say.
All right, moving on, 2687. Schedule a joint workshop with the planning board. This one should be easy. June 16th?
No.
This
No.
is different.
Another one? I give up.
No, well, there was some confusion. June 16th is a public hearing on the comprehensive plan.
Oh, yeah.
Growth map.
I apologize.
Okay, and
Correct.
okay, so that's that, you know. I did talk to Hershey today because there was some confusion about it, and she would like to schedule a workshop on July. You guys are gonna love this.
Someone got.
I'm losing track. On July 21st with the planning board, and, you know, I'll just say this, they've amended, you know, they put a lot of work into amending the growth map, the growth area for the comp plan. That's gonna be the subject of June 16th public hearing. And which is critically important as far as the implementation of LD 1829, which is all of our new housing stuff. There's also a number of other things they've been talking about, and they're working really a lot on zoning changes. Throughout town, we have a new planner, they're working on zoning changes. I think it's really critically important that instead of getting you know, massive amounts of zoning changes put into our lap, that we have just a sort of a session with the planning board, just so we know what's coming, what the thought process is behind it, before we get it, you know, put into our laps for a public hearing. So, I mean, there's really two different things going on. And I do think, and she agreed that that Jeff, he'll have been here for like 2 weeks.
Look at what we did to our code enforcement officer.
So I think that he needs to be part of that discussion, and so that's why we sort of pushed that back a bit.
What date are you proposing?
July 21st, which is actually not, I guess it's not, or is it a regular? No, it's not a regular council meeting.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to schedule a joint workshop with the planning board on Tuesday, July 21st at 6 p.m. in the community center.
Second.
Got a motion to second, any discussion? Hearing none, Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joe? Mallory?
Aye.
I vote aye also, motion passes 5-0. Monique, you're gonna put all this in the calendar, send it to us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good, because afterwards you can help me find my phone. 20.
I'm getting invitations from Joel, and up there to May.
That's the only way I will keep myself organized at Joanna right now.
2688, active plan steering committee schedule a workshop and final presentation. Sam, this has got to be you. That's not mine.
Yeah, so, last week, yeah, 5/21, there was active transportation plan steering committee meeting, which Paul and myself are on. They are getting towards finalizing their draft, or finalizing a draft. And they have 2 more meetings in their contract, one of which is to present the draft plan and accept more public input. And then third one would be presenting the final plan to the town council. At the meeting, they threw out June 30th for the public input meeting, which is a off week for council. And then Jen brought to my attention that 7/21 is also an off week, and I reached back out to VHB and they provided, and so just be a presentation to the council, that I would figure just do it on a regular meeting.
Yeah. Yep, fantastic.
So they offered July 14th or August 11th. let me see the line, see if those are July 14th. Those are both council days.
Go to the 11th because we're
Yeah.
trying to keep the 14th
Okay.
light so we can work on our kick the can down the road document.
And just to reiterate, this is the plan that active transportation is sort of like non-vehicular transportation. So it's a plan to help the town move forward with projects that are meant to improve active transportation. And one of which the recommendations was to address the Willow Drive corridor there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great. Want to make that motion of dates and times and
Yeah, we'll schedule a workshop with public input for the active transportation plan on 6:30 at 6 P.M.
second that. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to a vote. Sam?
Aye.
Joel? Aye. Mallory?
Hi.
Paul?
Aye.
I vote aye also. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to council member comments. Let's start in the middle with Mallory.
The sorry,
Or we-
Oh, sorry, you got a second one.
Yeah, final
My bad.
presentation date, you said August
Yeah.
11th,
August
so move to schedule. Presentation by VHB. Presentation of final active transportation plan by VHB for August 11th at 6 P.M.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Sam?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Joel? Aye. Mallory?
Aye.
I vote aye also. Motion passes 5-0. Now we'll go to councilman comments and we'll start with Mallory.
I will just plug that not this coming weekend, but the weekend after, our friends from EV are gonna be, in South Berwick, so Saturday, June 6th and Sunday, June 7th, there's a number of events going on. I'm planning to be at a few of them. And then, June 9th, Tuesday, June 9th, I don't think we have a council meeting before then, is, election day. So for South Berwick residents, they'll have the opportunity to vote on the school budget, and then also it's a big primary day, and it's important to note that this is a semi-open primary, one of the first ones we've had, so if you are not registered as a Republican or a Democrat, you can also participate in the primary, by specifying which one you'd like to participate in. That's all.
Excellent. Joe?
Club for Coffee with Counselors is Saturday. I'll let Paul go into more detail on it, and then Rick's Run was this past Friday at Springfield. That was a lot of fun. Somehow I got third place in my division, which means not many people were there in my division. Cause I ran with my 2-year-old, my 3-year-old.
Shenanigans. Paul?
Yeah, no, I don't think I've a lot, believe it or not. I think, I will be gone June. What's the second meeting, June 23rd meeting, I will not be in the country. So, sure you'll all miss me.
Will assign you something.
But that, other than that, I'll reiterate what Mallory said about Tuskegee, I think the project that Sam was referring to is really sort of a really interesting project. I think there's a lot of good things that are come about it, and I can't wait for Jeff to dive into it because he's been part of it all. Sort of, yeah, ironic.
Sam?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing about active transportation plan. That's been going, it's started, I think, probably 8 or 10 months ago, I think at this point. So seeing that come to a close and the ideas that they've come up with, and I think the deliverables that they're gonna have are gonna be valuable to actually make some difference in our infrastructure for the better. I appreciated the town meeting last week. I thought it was a cool, I'm glad my motion got seconded. I think that brought some more people out to discuss the fire and EMS stuff, and I just like having open discussions with the public like that. I think it's super valuable to everything. And yeah, it's pretty good.
All right, if nobody's tired of hearing me speak, you can come to the Tuskegee dinner at 5:30 on Saturday, June 6th, and hear me welcome them in. Oh, yeah, I got the invite to that. Jen is doing Monday, right?
The farewell luncheon,
Yeah,
yeah.
Jen's doing the farewell luncheon and I am doing the welcome dinner at 5:30. Yes, at the community center. So again, if you're not tired of listening to me talk, please come by on Saturday night at 5:30.
I thought the first, sorry, the dinners of the First Parish Federated Church.
Way to
I
get
think
me,
everything is at the church.
way to get me wrong, Paul. Yes, it is. It's the First Parish Federated Church. Short of that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Beautiful. All in favor? Eyes everywhere. Thank you, everybody, for coming.